Hey guys, and welcome to Film Study, where we analyze films in various ways to make you see it in a different concept, and change a part of a scene and figure out how the rest of the story would play out based on a single change in one scene.
Mom, it's okay.
I previously did a video on what a sequel to Toy Story 4 would look like, trying to figure out where Woody would be in the future with Bo Peep and Bonnie with the rest of the toys, but I never thought about a prequel, which I think would be even more interesting. There are countless theories about Andy's dad, like he and Andy's mom divorced or that he has simply passed away years ago, even him being possibly in prison, and credit to Michael Garcia for saying that a prequel is needed for this film franchise and giving me the idea for this video. Fun fact though real quick, the original title for this film was supposed to be You Are a Toy, which covers the overall premise of the film. It's based around the imagination that toys come to life when no one is looking and watching the love between a favorite toy and its owner develop and form. Ignoring the theme of the toys for this theory, I wanted to focus more on Andy's family, so I'm here to talk about what it could look like based on the questions we could have surrounding the original story with Andy's dad nowhere to be seen, and what I'm most interested in for where Woody really came from. My original thought was the only doll of its kind to be made at all. Not just a rare toy or a prototype, but a one-of-a-kind doll. Just like the other collector items, Jessie and the Prospector and Bullseye. If he was the only one made, he would have remembered the show and where he came from, so he would have had to come from a place that was unfamiliar to him since all the other toys know what factory they came from, just like when Rex and Mr. Potato Head introduced themselves to Buzz.
Well, I'm not really from Mattel. I'm actually from a smaller company that was purchased and delivered.
For starters, since the film came out at a time when technology was scarce and their abilities as animators were tested and limited, it's interesting to see how much they were able to accomplish and how they succeeded with realism.
With a character like Woody, we always describe it as a marionette, and as the character's built, you attach strings or controls. You basically just key in those extremes, and then depending on how you overlap the keys, you can get a nice flowing movement.
One of the challenging aspects of animating in this kind of style was character movement. In Toy Story 2, for the new characters like Jessie and Bullseye, some of the production team members actually acted like how they were going to animate the character doing certain movements to really understand how to make the movement believable for the character.
I got some old sneakers, I got a piece of plywood, and I nailed the shoes down to the board, and we tried walking in this thing and videotaped animators doing this. It was that experience and the analysis that allowed us to convincingly animate the Green Army Men.
According to Toy Story's IMDb trivia, some 3D effects were too complex or even impossible to calculate at the time, and subtle tricks were used to avoid them, like explosions. Thus, the viewer doesn't see Combat Carl's demise. Hair dynamics, so Andy, Sid, and Molly all have short hair, while Andy's mother's hair is always tied back in a simple-to-model ponytail. And flying water droplets, thus the viewer doesn't see any liquid when Woody dunks his head into a cereal bowl. Even use of the same character model of Andy's friends in the birthday scene for it to be cheaper. When we enter on Andy during his birthday party and in the middle of moving, it caught my attention why they were moving in the first place. But one thing I wanted to point out was there's no mention of a gift from his father.
Andy, you sit in the middle there. Good. And which present are you going to open first? Wait a minute. Oh, what do we have here?
It's unclear as to what Andy's mom does for a living. My original thought was she was struggling as a single mom, seeing Andy's room with Molly's crib in it, and moving because she could not afford the place she was living in now. But if you pay close attention, they move into a bigger house, so money actually isn't an issue. So why did Andy's dad leave, or could he have passed? Throughout the film's franchise of all 4 films, it is never stated what happened to Andy's dad, though it is likely that in this film, since Andy is moving, it is likely that Miss Davis and her husband are divorced. And yes, that could be true, but since there are no signs of him whatsoever in the film, or hints or anything that we could go off of, I tried to really think outside the box to at least figure out possibilities or his personality. It even states on Disney Fandom that she is the single mother of Andy and Molly Davis. In order to figure out the father father's personality, we need to know what Molly's, Andy's, and their mother's personality traits are in order to get a good read on Andy's dad's personality. As a child, Andy is portrayed as being an eager, imaginative boy who lives with his mother and younger sister Molly. His father is never seen or mentioned in the films. He is 6 years old in his debut and is the owner of Woody, Buzz Lightyear, and the other toys, which he treats with a large amount of love. As a teenager, Andy's personality changes drastically. He is now portrayed as being a gruff, easily irritated, and lethargic 17-year-old, but still a kind and compassionate person. Though he no longer plays with his childhood toys, he still cherishes them because of their importance to him as a child, and he finds it hard to let them go with Bonnie. Although Miss Davis means well, she is recognized as an accidental antagonist throughout the series. Given that Andy's mom has the traits of being loving, slightly argumentative, and a devoting mother, and Andy has the traits of being imaginative, loving, lethargic, and compassionate, it gives me the impression that Andy's father has the traits of eagerness and imaginative, as Miss Davis doesn't show any true telltale signs of having huge imagination, solely focused on raising Andy and Molly. Miss is a title used before a surname or full name of a married female. A widowed woman is also referred to as Miss out of respect for her deceased husband.
But what if we leave them behind?
Oh, don't worry, honey. I'm sure we'll find Woody and Buzz before we leave tomorrow.
Which one can I open first?
Let's let Molly open one.
Mom, Woody's arm ripped.
Oh, no. Maybe we can fix him on the way.
So why is it important to figure out Andy's personality? Well, to get a better view of where he would be, assuming he would or could be in a prequel, to understand the details of the story and not only where Andy's father is, but who he is. Another thing I wanted to point out is the name that Miss Davis goes by. According to Disney Wiki, Andy's mom is declared as Miss Davis, with the abbreviation meaning that she is still married. If she had divorced Mr. Davis, her name wouldn't declare that she is still married. I feel like this has to be proof that he is actually gone, in my opinion. We can also mention the physical features between all three of them. Initially, I thought Miss Davis had blonde hair the entire time. When we first see her, her hair is slicked back in a ponytail.
Wow, look at that! That's not... Oh my gosh,
Yeah, I think that's gonna be enough.
can we leave this up till we move?
Well, sure, we can leave it.
Yeah!
But as more time passes, her character design changes, meaning the length and color of her hair. It gets lighter and lighter as more films release, but I want to say that her original hair color is a medium brown, and she just eventually dyed it. Molly, on the other hand, has blonde hair throughout the entire film series with bluish-green eyes, while Andy has brown hair and blue eyes that stay the same. From this image, I was able to calculate Andy's mother's height at 5 feet 8 inches based on Woody's height being 15 inches and 18 centimeters, and converting that to inches for Miss Davis, her being 4.5 times the height of Woody. With all this in mind and everything I've collected, I think that Andy's dad has brown hair, green eyes, and is between 5 feet 8 inches and 6 feet tall, and has the traits of being eager and imaginative, just like Andy. I've even gone as far as attempting to put this information into a baby genetics calculator to see what the results would be. And turns out their results would be correct. The summary reads that there is a 50% chance of brown hair, 34% chance of blonde, and 16% of strawberry blonde hair, and a 50% chance of having brown eyes, a 37% chance of green eyes, and a 13% chance of blue eyes. Both Molly and Andy have blue eyes. With Andy being so much taller, his father had to be a fairly tall man, being about 6 feet tall. According to IMDb, Andy's mother is at the age of 28 in the first Toy Story. This would make her at the age of 22 when she had Andy, since he is just turning 6 at the beginning of the film. There's no telling the age of Andy's father. He could have been the same age, older, or younger, so for his age, that's the most unpredictable of all the information I have collected. So with all this being said, I think that a prequel would revolve around Andy being a toddler, the age we see Molly be in the first film, and being given Woody and the process of what happened to Andy's father. And at this point, I believe Andy would have been an only child, Miss Davis maybe being pregnant at this time as well, or first finding out that she is. Based on how we see Miss Davis act throughout the film, it doesn't seem that the event of his death took place recently, and Andy would have been too young to understand. If you really think about it, in the case of if he was really in the military like some theories claim, by the fourth film I feel like there would be some signs by that time, or seeing him watch Andy go off to college or be in his graduation photo at the very least. This would also make sense that he has passed for following Walt Disney's design of getting rid of parent characters in his stories. This comes from the tragic story of when he had purchased a home for his parents shortly after his success as a storyteller, and with a furnace malfunction in the home caused his mother's death. From there on, it became natural to him to include something of this nature within his stories, and it had just become normal over time for audiences. This could also just be reading too much into things, but the popular cloud wallpaper could signify the loss of Andy's father and foreshadow him in the sky. In an attempt to debunk the theory of why Andy's father's photos aren't on the wall, it could just be the passing was too hard for Miss Davis and doesn't want to display it or make Andy question it later as he gets older. So what do you guys think of this theory? I would honestly love to see a prequel of Andy being a toddler and showing at least some hints of Andy's father, or maybe him in the picture, or even Woody when he first met Andy. I think that Andy was the first child Woody was given to because he's so attached. Even when Bonnie comes along, he still mentions him. He could also be attached because of Andy's father's death, wanting to stay with him and be a comfort toy, not wanting Andy to be alone.
Like it or not, you are a toy. Maybe you don't like being one, but you are one nonetheless, which means you are going to be there for Andy when he
Who's Andy?
And for more videos like this, we'd really appreciate it if you subscribed. It would really help out the channel and let us know that we are providing great content for you guys. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below.